One byproduct of all these old motorcycles being purchased, stripped down, and the parts being sold on, was that I was accruing a fair amount of scrap metal each month. Being young and still a little bit green, I was giving it away to various travellers who would make an appearance in sundry Ford Transits on a weekly basis. I'd wondered for a while why they kept coming so regularly. Thankfully, my cousin wised me up to the fact that there was a substantial monetary value available if we loaded it all onto our old lorry and took it into the city. Dad had bought a little Bedford CF petrol flatbed off a builder back in the winter time. This because the old Leyland FG we had owned for years ran out of test and needed substantial work doing. I cajoled him into driving it to the city with a load of scrap one Friday morning in March 1994. I had gotten Dad to park the lorry in the yard and would toss bits of unwanted scrap on board whenever there was a spare half hour. The rotting remains of a Mark III Ford Escort were in the yard, left there as a favour to a lad from down in the village. That was loaded on, firstly by lifting its front up with our Fordson major tractor and loader, then reversing the lorry's bed under the car before taking the tractor to the car's rear end and pushing it all up onto the truck. Its back end still hanging out, but never mind. By the time Friday arrived, the ensemble was piled high with all sorts of old motorbike frames, bits of old washing machine, and all sorts of other things we had hanging round the place and tied down tight. Not knowing what to expect, we tottered off, armed with some vague directions given by my cousin, plus a warning to be careful that they didn't batter the shit out of my truck with the big grab. Halfway in, we came up behind another lorry crawling along, obviously grossly overloaded with metal, just like us. Dad decided to just follow this geezer, as long as the route seemed to roughly match the directions. It did. The fella in front pulled onto the weighbridge, jumped out and disappeared into a porter cabin, coming out 2 minutes later and driving into the yard. We copied him. I was dispatched to go in and do the talking. A grimy looking old bloke was behind a glass partition, the place thick with fag smoke and oily fingerprints on all the surfaces. He noted the reading from an enormous scale, shouting, "OK, son, light iron on the left. What's your name?" I told him, then got back up in the cab. First mistake made right there. I should have untied it all first. We drove into the yard to be greeted with an enormous track machine fitted to which was a huge grab. Either side were mountains of metal. Scrapyards have a unique smell of all of their own, an almost overpowering metallic stench, not dissimilar to when a lot of blood has been spilled. You could take me there blindfold and I would know where I was. I started to untie the load, but the grab was on us in a flash. I couldn't move fast enough. Dad was still in the cab. I was flapping my arms about at the machine's driver like an hysterical owl, still tugging on the ropes. He tried to pick the car off, but the ropes howled and the back of the lorry was up off the ground too, father tipped up in the cab. He started blowing the lorry's horn, alerting the driver, who then let everything drop with a thud. I quickly tugged the ropes off and he went down on the lorry again. Now I understood what my cousin meant. Climbing up on the bed of our truck, I tossed off the remaining small metal items and Dad backing us onto the bridge again. I jumped off and went inside the cabin, coming back out with a fistful of tenors. My heart rate starting to return to normal as we made our way up through the manic Friday lunchtime traffic. I showed Dad the money. "All that for what we had just kicking about," he commented. "Yeah, easy money, huh?" I replied. A seed that day was planted in my head, which over the months would grow and grow. Hello there. Thank you for watching my video. If you've enjoyed it, would like to see more from my autobiography, then please subscribe to my channel and also share. It means a lot. Take care.